The following program is sponsored by CBN.
Coming up later, Back to the Future's Claudia Wells.
Michael J. Fox, I was excited about him because he's so cute.
A natural in front of the camera.
I got to take a part of me and express it.
Traumatized, standing in front of her mother.
She sat there and told me I was too fat, and I wasn't.
She shares her story for the first time ever on today's 700 Club.
And I said, I am not a mistake. I am not a mistake. And I was sobbing.
Well, welcome to the 700 Club. Pro-lifers have been struggling for this for nearly 50 years, and now the end may be in sight. The overturning of Roe versus Wade.
Abortion supporters argue that the science hasn't changed since 1973. State-of-the-art ultrasound technology is proving they're dead wrong. Charlene Aaron shows us the latest advancements.
While discussing that leaked Supreme Court opinion that signaled a potential end of Roe versus Wade, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi made comments regarding abortion that many say highlight just how out of touch her party really is when it comes to the issue of life and the science that supports it.
The science hasn't changed, but the court changed, and therefore they're deciding that it will be different.
Dr. Tara Sander-Lee, director of life sciences at Charlotte Lozier Institute, disagrees with Pelosi, adding the speaker seems unaware of technological advancements since Roe.
For 3 years, she's been telling America to follow the science, but at this moment, she's choosing to ignore the science because it's inconvenient to her extreme political agenda.
Since the 1973 ruling legalizing abortion, ultrasound technology has boomed, providing a window into the womb for millions who now post images of their unborn babies on their refrigerators. According to 40 Days for Life, 93% of women who have ultrasounds choose to keep their babies.
Now in 2022, not only do we have ultrasounds, but we have, 3D ultrasounds. We have ultrasounds where you can really get this beautiful, clear image of a baby growing in the womb.
Christina Bennett, a correspondent with the group Live Action, explains how the internet has also provided a unique view of the unborn.
Live Action has a video called Baby Olivia, which goes through the whole development of a baby. You can just go on YouTube and watch that video. Technology through the internet and through, of course, medical science, even just us understanding that babies can feel pain after 20 weeks, even those things we were not aware of.
Dr. Gracie Christie, a diagnostic radiologist and policy advisor for the Catholic Association, submitted a brief in the key Supreme Court case Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health, describing the science used in Roe as outdated.
We've developed a different appreciation of the humanity of the fetus that we didn't have back then through ultrasound, and my brief has a lot to do with that. We included pictures of unborn babies for the justices, and we were really proud of that because they're so compelling.
At the heart of Roe was the question of when life in the womb begins, an issue Christie and others say is clearly proven by newer science.
In 1973, viability was probably 30-something weeks. Now we're down to 22 or 23 weeks. What an amazing difference.
Advancements in prenatal imaging and surgical technology, combined with discoveries in anesthesia for relieving pain, have also been pivotal in ushering in the modern era of fetal surgery.
Imagine this, a surgeon opens a woman's belly, cuts through the wall of her uterus, pulls out her baby with the baby's heart beating, the baby's moving, they anesthetize the baby, operate on the child, and then the mom waits to give birth to hopefully a much healthier baby.
All evidence, many say, can no longer be denied.
This is the truth. This is what science reveals. And so to say otherwise is just simply to ignore the science that's around us today.
Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
We all await the Supreme Court's ruling. It looks like that leaked opinion is the actual opinion. It may have some variations by the time it's published. But then at that point, it goes back to the states, and the states get to decide the law for their particular jurisdiction. Will we see the federal government try to intervene? I think the answer is quite clear. Yes, we will. Nancy Pelosi's already trying to do that. But here's my point, and I will stand on this one. The best culture for America going forward is a culture where mothers welcome their children into the world. Wouldn't it be great that we had a culture that encouraged motherhood, that supported mothers, that gave them plenty of time to bond with their babies, gave them plenty of support so they don't have to worry about the cost, what's going on with it? I mean, wouldn't that be wonderful? Wouldn't that be great to have a culture that does that? Well, let's dream for that, and let's, more than dream, let's achieve it. In other news, a report exposing the failure to respond to sexual abuse in the Southern Baptist Convention. John Jessup has that sad story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
Thanks, Gordon. The SBC's Executive Committee meets to discuss the report today. Meanwhile, Southern Baptist President Ed Litton spoke with CBN News about the report, and the very first step he says the convention must take to begin making things right. Heather Sells has more.
The report says that abuse survivors and advocates have reached out to top Southern Baptist leaders for almost 20 years. Those leaders, however, met them with, quote, resistance, stonewalling, and even outright hostility.
It's a culture of protecting power and position. It's not a culture that Jesus would model for us of caring for the least of these.
Southern Baptist President Ed Litton says he's shocked, disappointed, and dismayed by the report, which focused on the executive committee. It identified a few staff in control of responding to reports of abuse: General Counsel August Botto and outside counsel Gunther, Jordan, and Price. The report says they ignored or discounted victims' claims and cited the Baptist principle of church autonomy as their reason for failing to take action.
There were chances, going many years back to do the right thing.
Task Force Chair Bruce Frank says they were wrong to use it as an excuse.
Autonomy is certainly a cherished value, and it is our polity that is in no means to say you can't have accountability and communication.
Other bombshell revelations, what the report calls credible allegations that former SBC President Johnny Hunt sexually assaulted a pastor's wife, a claim Hunt denies. Also, the existence of an executive committee database with the names of hundreds of abusers. The report said it found no indication that Botto or anyone else took action to remove the accused abusers from their positions of power in SBC churches. The report has rocked the Southern Baptist world and those who've left it. Russell Moore saying the investigation uncovered more evil than even I imagined. Southern Baptist Seminary head Al Moeller saying the weight of truth calls for a concerted determination to make things right. Litton, who is stepping down next month, says that ultimately the report shows who's really in charge of the convention because its messengers called for the independent report.
It's the power of a grassroots people who for 2 days a year gather in the largest deliberative body in the world, and they literally can set the course and direction of that denomination.
Right now, he says the first concern must be for abuse survivors.
They have been brutalized by physical assaults and attacks by people that should have been trustworthy and in the context of churches. But then to face the kind of resistance and sometimes out-and-out attack, according to the report, is unthinkable.
Next month, the convention holds its annual meeting in Anaheim. It will receive this report and decide what next steps to take. Heather Sells, CBN News.
All right, thank you, Heather. The SBC is live streaming the Executive Committee meeting today at 11 a.m. To find out how you can watch, go to cbnnews.com. Well, turning now to the latest in the war in Ukraine. There's intense fighting in the eastern Donbas region, with Russian forces trying to hold their ground as their offensive appears to be stalled. In the southern port city of Mariupol, Ukrainian authorities digging out the rubble of destroyed buildings say they've discovered at least 200 bodies. Meanwhile, a Russian diplomat to the United Nations has resigned his post over the war, saying he is, quote, ashamed of his country. And the UN now estimates that more than 6.5 million Ukrainians have fled the fighting there. Among those leaving their homeland, a mother and her daughter seeking shelter in Poland. They shared how the violence forced them to flee and a safe place they found with Operation Blessing.
Before the war, Larissa and her family were living peaceful lives in Ukraine. Larissa's daughters, Angelina and Alina, spent their time doing art projects and playing together.
I really love sculpting and drawing. I love it too. And we also like to go for walks on the street.
But the war stole their peace.
For a couple of days, it was scary to even go outside. Every shop was closed. We couldn't find food or even get medical supplies for the injured because Russians didn't allow humanitarian aid to come to us.
I heard bangs and saw how they were dropping bombs and rockets, and the sirens were very loud. We would run to the basement very fast. At night, it was scary.
To keep her children safe, Larissa fled to Poland. When they reached the border, thanks to Operation Blessing donors, Larissa and her children received a warm meal and hygiene supplies to help them on their journey.
I want to thank every volunteer who helped us. All of them asked how they could help us or offered us something to eat. It makes me want to cry, knowing there are people who simply want to help strangers like us.
I like it here very much. I feel calm here.
Thanks to the support of Operation Blessing partners, Larissa and her daughters had a welcoming place to rest after their long journey to Poland. While Angelina and Alina enjoyed the warmth of the tent, they were able to draw and play in a safe space, free of fear.
Among so much pain and disruption, Gordon, it's nice to see those smiling faces.
And it's nice to know that there's been a safe place provided for them that's away from all the terror of this war. If you want to be a part of it, it's all because people like you cared enough to give that we're able to provide that kind of aid to people leaving the war zone. We're also supplying food back into Ukraine from a warehouse in Poland. There are a lot of different centers, Orphan Promise centers, that are still operating in Ukraine. Even in the far eastern side. I mean, there's some in Donetsk and Verdansk that have to be shut down. But we want to help people in their point of need, and we need you to do that. So if you want to be a part of it, all you have to do is call us, 1-800-700-7000. Say, I want to give. I want to be a member of the 700 Club. A portion of every gift you give goes into the work of Operation Blessing to help those in need. And help the disaster zones here in America, the disaster zone that's currently the whole country of Ukraine. You can be a part of it. Call us, 1-800-700-7000. Terry?
Well, still ahead, Back to the Future made her an instant star in the 80s. Now, actress Claudia Wells takes us behind the scenes of her real life. Hear how she almost OD'd before she got the role of Jennifer Parker, and what saved her from destroying herself afterwards. Stay tuned for a 700 Club exclusive. That's coming up. Also ahead, they fled with nothing but the clothes on their backs. Victims of the New Mexico wildfire shared their harrowing stories. Plus, meet the heroes who are helping them after this.
A massive drought out west has jump-started the 2022 wildfire season. Flames have already consumed more than 1 million acres in New Mexico and other states. One mountain town has lost more than 200 homes. Heather Sells shows us how local churches have come together to support the victims.
At one point, winds from the McBride fire gusted to 80 miles an hour. That left precious little time for Ruidoso residents to seek safety.
We literally left with clothes on our backs. We had nothing but that.
I was going to pick up my daughter from school, and when I got there, there was no smoke, and within 15 minutes, I saw houses on fire.
The winds were some of the worst that we've seen up here.
The fire forced Pastor Todd Sullins, his family, and thousands of others to evacuate.
Some 200 families, like James Paxton and his wife, lost their homes. The quick-moving fire simply gutted some neighborhoods like this one, where a dozen or so homes are simply gone. The disaster also led to a ministry response citywide, thanks to pastors who've held weekly prayer meetings for years.
We have come to know each other and trust each other.
In the early chaotic moments, those connections led to quick, easy communication and effective outreach.
Because we have that trust, everybody just kind of gets in our lane.
Duncan and other members of Gateway Church initially focused on getting the most vulnerable out of harm's way, including one man who was sleeping.
He's 90 years old, and he did not know there was a fire.
Later, they collected clothing and water for fire victims. Community United Methodist opened its doors to evacuees.
It's just making sure that people had the basic necessities, a place to stay, a place to eat, and a place to stay safe.
Solon's opened First Baptist Ruidoso to hundreds of disaster relief volunteers. Their focus, cleaning up properties destroyed by the fire.
To even know where to begin is just overwhelming to people. And so that's just a basic need that we can come in and help them begin to get their footing.
The trained volunteers come from states near and far and help those who've lost most or all of their possessions. They sift through ash for prized items, clear all manner of debris, then cut and haul away charred trees. The ministry here goes beyond clearing debris and trees. It is also about sharing Christ with those who are open to it.
And I see that love softening hearts, for the gospel. And so people are getting real tender. People are tender right now.
Since the fire, more than a dozen have given their lives to the Lord. Those serving here say moments of great need often lead to new understanding.
And they will suddenly realize that maybe they're not in the level of control that they might have thought they were. And so sometimes when you're flat on your back, the only way you can look is up. And so they are open to discussions about spiritual matters.
Even though he lost his home, James Paxton, a longtime disaster relief volunteer, says he wants to give back and has cleared debris along with other volunteers.
We're out here not just picking up ash and other things, but trying to show people what God's love is.
A spirit of unity exists here, as well as a spirit of thankfulness, as many realize what could have happened.
We could have lost thousands if the wind would have been a different direction. And just the gratitude that we have here, right? I mean, I have 3 people in my church that the fire got up to their doorsteps.
There will no doubt be more communities this year going through a similar experience. More than half of the country's lower 48 states are in drought, according to the U.S. Drought Monitor. That will likely pave the way for an extended fire season and potentially other natural disasters. In Ruidoso, the pastors are already preparing for flooding.
When you get a half an inch or an inch of rain in a canyon that won't soak in and it's just coming downhill, it's going to be a challenge.
If the bond among the churches here is any indication, Ruidoso is ready.
The community of Christ here is united. We try our best to work together. It's not us versus other churches, it's us working together for the good news of gospel.
Reporting in Ruidoso, New Mexico, Heather Sells, CBN News.
Let that spirit of unity go across the nation, go around the world. When we become one, then the world knows that God sent Jesus. He prayed that. You can go look it up in John chapter 17. Let's endeavor to be one, and let's endeavor for the church to be known as a place of relief, a place of very present help in time of need. Tara?
Well, up next, Marty McFly's girlfriend, Claudia Wells, was 18 years old when she shot to fame as Jennifer Parker in Back to the Future. Find out why she was missing from the sequels to the film and what she's doing today after this.
Actress Claudia Wells became an overnight sensation in 1985 as Michael J. Fox's girlfriend in the movie Back to the Future. She never appeared in any of the sequels. The reasons she quit acting? To get back at her mother. Claudia contacted us to share her exclusive story of the brokenness and redemption.
It was the summer of 1985. 18-year-old actress Claudia Wells was making her big screen debut as Jennifer Parker, girlfriend in Steven Spielberg's blockbuster classic, Back to the Future.
I'm excited. I finally got a movie because it got down to me and one or two other girls probably 10, 12 times. And Michael J. Fox, I was excited about him because he's so cute.
While the movie catapulted her to international fame, Claudia would soon fade into obscurity. The youngest of three, Claudia was a natural in front of the camera. By 12 years old, she was living in LA with her single, divorced mom and landing a number of small TV roles. She loved the work, attention, and the chance to be someone other than herself.
My fun and joy was when the camera was on and I got to be a person and act. Because every single role I played, I got to take a part of me and express it.
That's because at home, her alcoholic mother made sure her daughter knew the real Claudia was someone to be despised.
I thought everyone grew up hearing, "I regret the day you were ever born." I really thought that was a normal thing. I was either the greatest or I was worse than my father, worse than her mother. I don't know. I didn't know who I was because I was told so many different things.
Her mother burned through Claudia's money as she controlled every aspect of her daughter's life. That included her weight.
I used to have to stand in front of my mom's bed and turn while she sat there and told me I was too fat. And I wasn't.
Claudia became obsessed with being thin, always on a diet. Then, at 14, she was found in her bedroom unconscious after trying to overdose on her mother's prescription pills.
That was my intention. Completely. It was not a cry for help. It was I'm done. I don't deserve to be here anyway. I'm too fat.
By the time 1982 rolled around 2 years later, little had changed for the budding star. Only now she was bulimic, taking up to 60 laxatives a day. It was then she was cast in the TV series Herbie the Love Bug, starring Dean Jones. Claudia became friends with the late actor and his wife, Lori.
He talked to me about the hole that was inside of me, and if I don't fill it with God, and if I don't fill it with Jesus Christ, it'll get filled with men and drugs and problems. So I said the sinner's prayer with Dean at lunch one day, and I became saved. Not really understanding anything that meant, but God heard me.
So Claudia continued to believe the voices in her head, telling her she was a mistake. Meanwhile, her acting career flourished, and in 1984, she landed a role in her first feature film, Back to the Future.
I was terrified because I got a movie, and in my brain, I was thinking, oh no, my legs are gonna be so big, it's not just TV. I wonder if I'm skinny enough.
The movie's success made Claudia an instant star. Then, after the movie's released in 1985, her mom was diagnosed with cancer. After working in television 2 more years, Claudia called it quits, saying she needed to take care of her mother.
I took care of her the best that I could. I was not in a place emotionally to do anything that had anything to do with acting. I was also angry, and I stopped acting because it was so important to my mom.
Bulimia and later drugs and alcohol would control Claudia's life for years, until 1992 when she entered a rehab program that led to her eventual recovery. By then she had opened a men's clothing store called Armani Wells. And even though she was moving forward in life, going to church, running a successful business, Claudia couldn't move past the pain of her childhood.
I built brick walls in front of me physically in my brain. I built them, and her yelling got softer and softer and softer.
Then in 2008, she took a step closer to healing and God when her mother lost her battle with cancer. Claudia finally saw her as she was, a woman like herself who was broken.
And I said, God, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry for the horrible things I said about her. I'm sorry for hurting her on purpose by destroying myself to the best of my ability. Please, will you forgive me?
Then, a few years later, the voices of self-condemnation and guilt would finally be silenced.
Then it occurred to me, wait a minute, why am I being so horrible to myself? Jesus died on the cross, and he took up all these horrible sins that I'm condemning myself for. And I said, I am not a mistake. I am not a mistake. And I was sobbing. I didn't even know that I thought it was a mistake. I just knew that she regretted the day I was born. And then I went up to the guy, the preacher, and I said, I'm not a mistake. And he hugged me, and I said, I'm not a mistake.
Yeah, it's actually...
Today, Claudia is still running her clothing store and has made several appearances on television. She even takes time to sign an autograph or two.
God has given me such a level of peace, and it's from him. And I can prove, I am walking, talking proof that God is real, that Jesus Christ exists. Every blessing comes from him.
You can have that. You can have that release from all the words that were spoken over you. The Bible says, when your mother and father abandon you, the Lord will raise you up. For Claudia, it took a long time for that verse to become real for her, that God was ready, willing, and able to show her how beautiful she is, how wonderfully made she is, how she's not a mistake, that she is part of his plan, his purpose, his destiny, that he came for her and he loved her so much, he was willing to die for her. Why? So that she could spend all eternity with him. That same good news is for you. And maybe like Claudia, you had some really horrible things spoken over you when you were young. And in that rejection and all of that anger and conflict and all of that turmoil, you made a decision to reject yourself. For Claudia, she somehow thought that if she destroyed her career, she would get back at her mother. That was an active thought pattern in her life. It showed up in a suicide attempt. It showed up in drugs and alcohol. It showed up in destroying a promising career. It showed up all because of words spoken over her. Well, here's a word that is spoken over you. For God so loved the world. That's you. Put your name in there. For God so loved me. He gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever, that's me again, I can be a whosoever, would believe in him, they wouldn't perish, but have eternal life. Jesus came that you might have life and have it more abundantly. And not just in the sweet by and by, but right here and now. You can live a life where you can love and you can be loved. You can be accepted in him. Accepted for who you are. The real you. Not the destructive you. The real you. The one he breathed into being. If you want to rediscover that, if you want to be recreated from your innermost being, that's what Jesus told Nicodemus. You're recreated, you're redone. Here's some wonderful things that will happen. You'll be able to see the kingdom of God. You'll be able to see his dominion over your life, how he's weaving everything together. All these complicated interactions, he's putting it all into place for your good, so that you can be with him. You can see the plan, the purpose, the destiny he has for you. You can walk into that. He'll satisfy the desires of your heart. He'll give you righteousness, peace, and joy. Now, if you want it, there are a couple of things you have to do. Number one, you have to do just what Claudia did. She prayed a sinner's prayer with Dean Jones. Now, She didn't quite understand all that that meant. But later, she realized, and she did the same thing. She came forward on an altar call, and she declared, I'm not a mistake. I'm not a mistake. When you have that realization that you're intended and destined for him, that you're not a mistake, that you're beloved by him, when you have that, it's a rebirth that nothing else on earth compares with. You can have it, and you can have it right now. Pray with me. Ask Jesus to come into your heart. Ask Jesus to reveal the real you, the one he intended. Bow your head with me. Let's pray, and let's let Jesus do all the rest. Pray with me. Jesus. Say his name. Say it out loud. Jesus. If you're my Savior, if you died for me, if you gave yourself for me, could you show up? Could you come into my heart? Could you make me new again? Could you let me know how much you love me, how much you cherish me? And Jesus, if you do this, I want to follow you. I want to be transformed into your image. So Jesus, forgive me of everything I've ever done wrong. And I forgive anyone who has ever wronged me. I want to be free of it. Come into my heart. Make me new. For I ask it in Jesus' name. Amen. If you prayed with me, there's one more thing I want you to do. I want you to let me know. Give us a call, 1-800-700-7000. There'll be somebody on the other end of that line who's prayed the same prayer that you just prayed. But we also have something for you. It's called A New Day. It's a free packet, no financial obligation at all. Everything's free. Phone calls free, packets free. What A New Day does is a wonderful teaching of how you live the Christian life. What do Christians believe? Why do we believe it? All of that is in that wonderful teaching. You can download it. You can get a CD, your choice. Do it now. 1-800-700-7000. Terry?
Well, still ahead, he dared to question his family's Muslim faith. For that, his father tried to kill him with a bomb. Dr. Mark Christian talks about his journey from slave to saved. That's coming up.
Welcome back to Washington for this CBN News break. Voters head to the polls in 5 states this primary Tuesday, and all eyes are on Georgia, which could become a pivotal contest in this year's midterm elections. It's also the focus of a battle in the Republican nomination for governor. Former Vice President Mike Pence is backing incumbent Governor Brian Kemp. Kemp did not support former President Trump's claims of voter fraud in Georgia, prompting Trump to back a challenger, former Senator David Perdue. Polls show Kemp has a strong lead, likely enough to avoid a runoff. Early voting has been far heavier than the 2018 midterms, despite charges by President Biden and state Democrats that Georgia's new voting laws would reduce turnout. Well, the Biden administration is brokering talks between Egypt, Israel, and Saudi Arabia that could be a step towards the Saudi kingdom officially normalizing ties with the Jewish state. Axios reports the quiet negotiations involve transferring 2 strategic islands in the Red Sea from Egyptian sovereignty to Saudi Arabia. Relations between the Saudis and Israelis have blossomed under the shadow of the Abraham Accords negotiated under the Trump administration. Well, you can always get the latest from CBN News by going to our website at cbnnews.com. Gordon and Terry will be back with more of the 700 Club right after this.
Dawson Springs, Kentucky is a tiny little town with a great big heart. People there take care of each other. One day, a tornado destroyed many of the homes in that area, and that's when a team from Operation Blessing arrived to help those victims.
After a deadly EF4 tornado ripped through Dawson Springs, Kentucky, people struggled to feed their families while they rebuilt their homes.
For a small town, and for us to go through this, and we lost like 75% of our town, it's a very scary feeling.
We're worrying, will there be for next week? Can we make this stretch? And there are honestly some that don't still have food to eat. We're just a tiny little town with a great big heart.
In the wake of this devastation, Operation Blessing hosted a food distribution to help those in need. Dawson Springs Mayor Chris Smiley.
We're so grateful that the Operation Blessing has come in today, and they have blessed so many people. They had 5 blocks of cars in there, and they're still coming. They're going to give everything that's on that truck away, so it's a great day.
We're just now starting the rebuild, and long-term recovery is trying to get everything fired up and going. So, we're in it for the long haul, and we're glad Operation Blessing is as well.
Thanks to Operation Blessing partners, families received emergency meal kits full of rice, pasta, tuna, canned vegetables, and other staples. They also received hams right before Easter.
We're going to get to have a ham dinner now for Easter. I'm sorry. It's very humbling. But yeah, it means a lot to us. It really does.
It is truly a blessing. It's God sent. I just want to thank y'all. God bless y'all, and may the light shine upon y'all.
We try to take care of one another, and that's what God intends for us to do, is look out for each other, love one another, and take care of each other. And thank you all for helping to take care of us.
Now, one of the things that touches me when I see these stories is the randomness of how things happen in the world. And I think for all of us, it moves us to think, next time that could be me. It could happen to my town. It could be my house. We have such an opportunity to be there for each other. And when we do that, God provides a blessing beyond what we can imagine. I want to invite you to be a part of what Operation Blessing is doing around the country as they meet the needs of people who have unexpected, random things happen that put them in jeopardy, really. 65 cents a day, $20 a month makes you a 700 Club member, and that's just one of the things that you'll be doing as a 700 Club member. We want you to be a part of it all as we reach out to the United States and to the world at large, meeting people right at their point of need, not just with practical answers like you saw in that video, but also with the gift of hope, which is really something you can't put a price tag on. Would you join us in that endeavor? Our number is toll-free. It's so easy to become a part of the thousands who are saying yes to that invitation. It's 1-800-700-7000. Just call and say, I want to join the 700 Club. You can join at many levels. The general membership is $20 a month, but let me show you some other options. You could be a 700 Club Gold member at $40 a month, or join our 1,000 Club. That's $84 a month. We have 2,500 Club members who join at $209 a month, and then we have a group called the Founders who give gifts of $417 or more a month. Ask God what He'd have you to do, and then call expecting to know and to feel the blessing of making a way, a path, giving hope to those who are in need. Our way of saying thank you for caring about others is to send you Pat's latest CD teaching. I love this, Putting on the Armor of God. We all need this. We need it every day. We want you to hear from Pat why it's so important and how to activate that in your life. So we'll get this out to you right away. By the way, when you give, what you give using Pledge Express, it's electronic monthly giving. It means your bank does all the work, so you don't have to write a check, put anything in an envelope, remember to send it. It helps us, and we can put even more of your gift right into the lives of people like you just saw in that special town. So call now, 1-800-700-7000. Say, I'd like to join the 700 Club. This is the club level I'd like. I'd like to do it using Pledge Express. When you use Pledge Express, we want to send you a Power for Life teaching. You'll get this every month. It'll be a blessing to you, even as you are touching the lives of other people. So call now. Gordon?
Well, up next, meet a once devout Muslim who dared to question his faith. Hear how it almost cost him his life and why he's on a mission to protect America from Islamic infiltration. All that is after this.
Christian's father was a physician, a high-ranking military officer, and a member of the Muslim Brotherhood. He was devoted to Islam, and he fully expected his son to follow suit.
From an early age, Dr. Mark Christian emulated his father, a well-known religious leader and devout Muslim. Following in his footsteps, Mark devoted his life to Allah by studying the Quran and teaching in the mosques. However, after years of being immersed in this belief system, Mark did what was forbidden. He began to question the foundation of his religion, igniting hatred from his father and family. In his book, The Apostate, Mark shares how his quest for answers led him to discover the truth and walk away from Islam.
Please welcome to the 700 Club, Mark Christian. Mark, welcome. It's good to have you with us today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to be with you today.
Will you talk a little bit about, go back to the beginning for you as a 5-year-old. Your mother did something pretty basic. She took you to a movie. Lots of moms would probably do that. Your dad was a very devout Islamic follower. Your mom was Islamic, but maybe not quite as strict. But what happened to you after you saw that movie?
Yeah, my father still is a religious leader in his in the Middle East, in Egypt, and across the board. You know, I mentioned the story, and it is very significant because this is a day where I really met Allah in full force. When I went to watch a movie, and as you said, you know, it was not a choice for me, but when I accompanied my mother as a 5 years old to watch a movie, and any kind of entertainment is forbidden in Islam. People in the West and in the Christian church do not recognize or understand that, but this is a fact. And this is a common, knowledge, and Muslims talk about that all the time, and they do it. They watch movies and do music and do movies, and they know when they do that are sinners. So as a 5 years old, I was not aware of all the concepts. And when I watched the movie, to be quite honest, I was sleeping in most of the movie as a 5 years old. It was very boring, except a couple of car chases that was taking place. When I got back home, I was punished in a very hard way, to say the least. And I mentioned that in details. And the ritual of actually punishing me, and I explained, what my father exactly did, and so forth. And I was not mad at my father. This is just a very interesting thing. I was not mad with all the stuff that happened to me or became resentful. I actually, that punishment, that incident opened my eyes to my status as a slave to Allah, and what I'm supposed to do exactly in that status, and how my life should be, and what I need to do to avoid Allah's wrath, and to be also changing my life so I can be a good slave to Allah as my master. And that's really was a day that introduced me to Allah, introduced me to Islam, and started the trajectory in my life that followed for years after that.
Mark, it was real. I found that so remarkable that it didn't make you angry with your father. It actually kind of reinforced your desire to please him by not doing anything that would cause him to react like that. So having been raised in such a strict Islamic environment, when did you begin to doubt Islam?
Well, I just want to highlight something. I was not mad at my dad, not because of his actions. Actually, I saw my dad doing his duty as a good and true Muslim, and I was not mad as well because I was fascinated by who is my creator. And I thought in my heart and mind, even at a very young age, that if Allah is ordaining my father to do so he's just doing this an act of obedience. And my father made it clear through scripture at that young age to explain to me that concept. So I was accepting and I'm not angry, just because I thought this is my place, this is my duty, I'm just a slave, I need to do whatever it takes to please Allah. And if I got angry even, I will be spending eternity in hell, and I will be punished dearly by things that Allah can do to me on earth and then in the afterlife. So that was the reason for me not to be angry, and my dad explained that concept very well.
Let me jump ahead in your life, if I can, to your dad's disappointment and anger over the years as you began to question the faith that you were raised with. Your faith really alienated you from your family. At one point, your dad even tried to kill you with a bomb. What was that about?
Well, that's about exactly the same concept that started when I was 5 years old. So when I was, God ordained in my life that I would have a gap year, between my pre-med and starting medical school. And when I was, on thinking about what can I use for that year, I dedicated that year to establish myself in a strong foundation of Islamic teaching, history, theology, and so forth. And my intention was to be a stronger and better Islamic imam and Islamic preacher that will reach out to Christians and Jews with the truth of Islam, and I will convert everybody to Islam because of the truth of Islam. When I found out that I was actually believing in a lie, and I explained exactly why, I'm not saying that statement lightly or saying it, just to instigate any kind of hatred or emotions. I'm saying it and I'm backing it up in the book in details about why did I come to the point that Islam is a lie. And even when I found that out, I was actually confused. I wanted that lie not to be the lie it is. I wanted it to be the truth. So when I went to my father for the first time to ask for his help, as I always have been doing, and to discuss things, this is when things went upside down and started kind of, a long journey of ups and downs in life, mostly downs, and lots of physical and other abuses and other things that took place in my life. And all what I wanted is answer some questions. And the top of everything was actually March 29, 2003. This is when I was received a phone call to go to meet my father, and instead of going in to find reconciliation like I was hoping and praying for, I found a booby trap that was supposed to take my life. But the grace of God, I was saved, and I am here today as a testament that we cannot add a second to our life or take away a second of our life. So I am blessed and will continue doing what I'm doing.
Mark, your book is so interesting, and you have so many layers of how God has moved in your life, and we can't possibly touch them all, but I don't want to leave today because we're out of time without asking you what the most important message of your book is, because you came to Christ. What do you want readers to hear and to read as they look at the book, The Apostate?
Follow the direction of Jesus when he said, go make disciples of all nations. And when I see churches today in the United States are confused about how to reach out to Muslims and also those who are on mission and so forth, this is a book that I made myself extremely vulnerable to explain every detail about my life so people can understand how Muslim life looks like, what are the concepts of Islam, and how to be able to reach out if they want to in a better way. And I would love actually as well for churches to stand up for their faith and never give up Jesus.
Well, your book will help them understand the process and what goes on in the mind of people who are raised in Islam. Mark's book is called The Apostate, My Search for Truth, available wherever books are sold. Thank you, Mark. Bless you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Gordon.
Well, we leave you with this word from the Gospel of John. If you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free.